Everybody was happy when Joe Biden left the presidential race, but it looks like old Sleepy Joe is not done with us yet. If you didn't already know, Joe Biden says he wants to make changes to the United States Supreme Court. And there's also a Democratic senator who seems to agree and has introduced an option to make an amendment to the United States Constitution. Some people say Joe Biden is trying to add to his legacy. Other people say that he's creating a talking point for Kamala Harris. Welcome to the Mr. Wilson's Got a Headache podcast. I'm your host, Dennis the Menace. Check this out.
While it feels like a lifetime ago, given, the current news cycle, it has not even been a month since the United States Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump is entitled to substantial immunity from prosecution for alleged crimes committed involving core official presidential acts, effectively placing him and other U.S. presidents above the law. Now, while we await the impact of that controversial ruling on several criminal cases pending against Trump, we're getting new insight into how the conservative majority at the Supreme Court came to its 6-3 decision. CNN reporting today that Chief Justice John Roberts, who previously has been able to broker compromises, made no serious effort to entice the three liberal justices for even a modicum of the cross-ideological agreement that distinguished such presidential power cases in the past. People close to justices in the far right told CNN those justices were heartened by Roberts after years of suspicions about his efforts at the center of the bench. According to CNN, all told, Roberts appears to have reached a turning point.
Being in a situation where there may be a constitutional amendment is not something that happens every day. And it's also a very tough thing for anybody to achieve. This comes after the Supreme Court has made a ruling that says President Trump did have immunity as long as it was in his official capacity as president. Obviously, Democrats don't agree, and now Joe Biden is suggesting that no president should have immunity, and presidents also shouldn't be able to pardon themselves. To be honest with you, I can agree with the basic premise of the amendment, but I just don't see it likely that the Republican Party will allow this to happen at this time. Let's just say that they were able to push this through, and Joe Biden got exactly what he's looking for. Republicans would have to sign off on something that would make their Republican candidate vulnerable. That really don't make any sense. The President of the United States has to make decisions that are going to affect every American. To make that person vulnerable to attack wouldn't help any president. I'm going to keep an eye on that and keep you updated, so make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Either way, in order to amend the Constitution of the United States, first, you would need 75% of the states. That part of it really wouldn't be hard for Democrats, but the hardest thing for them to do is to get 2/3 of both houses to agree. That's the Senate and the House of Representatives. But Joe Biden didn't stop there. Check this out.
Mark, there is an even more important fix that's gaining traction right now. Senator Markey has advocated for the Judiciary Act, which would add 4 justices and bring the total number on the Supreme Court to 13. To be clear, is the only way to expand the court through congressional action? And if so, is the process the same as just passing any other bill?
Yeah, so I want to take your first question a second and sort of in the tone and merge them together. Yes, it requires a congressional action, but it only has to be a regular bill, right? So it can be part of an omnibus bill. It could be part of the next, funding of the government. It can be part of a continuing resolution. I'm not saying it should be attached to those other things, but my point is that I think we have come to believe that 9 justices is somehow set in stone.
Donald Trump is responsible for putting conservative justices on the Supreme Court. There's even been talk of adding 4 justices. And if, by chance, Kamala Harris won, she would have the ability to add those justices to the Supreme Court. The problem that both parties are not talking about is what they're suggesting. They're suggesting that depending on the justice's political affiliation, whether it be liberal or conservative, they expect that justice will stay in line with his political party instead of looking at the law for the letter of the law. That's a problem. But reality is what it is. This side of it could be done simply with a vote in the House and the Senate. So this is more likely to happen. I don't expect that it's going to happen by the end of the year. but maybe sometime down the road. But one thing is true, is Democrats currently, as it stands today, don't have enough of a majority in the Senate or the House to push this through. Most of the people in the Senate and most of the people in the House of Representatives are lawyers, so they understand the process. With that being said, many people have said that this may be a political ploy to give Kamala Harris talking points that she can push at the Democratic National Convention and while she's on the campaign trail. And to be honest with you, I agree with him. That's exactly what I think this is.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting also that as a political issue, it seems that Democrats want to kind of run against the Supreme Court. And that maybe by President Biden saying this, that this is what he wants to do, it enables Vice President Harris to take that as an issue into the convention and beyond.
Exactly right. And there was a lot of conversation about whether this was something that happened behind closed doors when President Biden was trying to stay alive and stay on the ticket in this race. Politically, was this a conversation he had with progressives? Because there's been this push from the left wing of his party to pack the court or to term limit the court, those kinds of things. So there was a conversation about, was this a concession to them? Well, now that he has officially left the ticket, we will wait to see whether the vice president tacks this onto her campaign proposals. We know that the court has had some trouble in public polling, and folks seem open to these ideas. But again, it is a very heavy lift to change the Constitution or to get this legislation passed.
Right now, Kamala Harris is hanging her hat on LGBTQ, and she's hanging her hat on women's reproductive rights. Unfortunately for her, most Americans say that their biggest issue is the economy and immigration. The best thing about this for her is that this is something that most Americans probably can get behind, but they just simply don't have the votes or the time to get it done. What do you think about it? Do you think that there should be a constitutional amendment that takes away immunity from the president? Do you think that will make the president vulnerable? Do you think we should add some more Supreme Court justices? I want to know what you think in the comments. Comment section is wide open. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video.